Shalom, my name is Adam and I welcome you to the parable of the Vineyard. Every day, Yahweh is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to his righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of his law. Join us as we seek to be refined by his word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in his way, truth, and life. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard. This is week 42, covering Numbers 30 through 32. We have vows, where we're going to talk about how important it is that everything that comes out of our mouth. We're going to be talking about some prophecies in the end times about a town called Heshbon. Well, it's a town that, it's a city that Yahweh will build in the last days. He calls it Heshbon, Carmel, Sharon, Lebanon, basically his love. And so we're going to talk about that and tying into some of the second Exodus stuff we've been speaking about over the llast few months. And this is actually a really cool Torah portion. I'm really excited. And what's really cool is, all praise to the Most High Yahuwah. I actually have finished the song actually this morning, Fire from Heshbon, which is part of this prophecy, and it kind of just really cool how it works together. The song was kind of finished last week, but I'm learning a lot of about vocal editing really just in the last week, and so I feel like I've finally now finished it. So it's just really cool timing. So really excited to share that song with you that goes along with this prophecy. And let's get started with prayer, and let's grow in the Torah together. The Torah, the same Torah that our Messiah came and reaffirmed and told us to walk in. That's at least just the understanding we have here. So, Heavenly Father, Most High, we just bless you. Thank you for waking us up. Thank you for drawing us unto your Son, Yahusha, salvation. By the blood of the Lamb, we're saved, and we're so thankful that just reading your words, we see that Yahusha, you didn't tell us to do away with the law, and so now we just want to learn it. We just want to be that generation, handpicked for your glory. And Father, let's begin. Let's do your will in these last days. Just pray you be with us. Amen. Hallelujah. I'll get those shofars out. Let's blow them. The awakening blast. Praise Yah. All right. Well, and let's get right into it. My camera's all off. Okay, let's get right into it. Let's get to Numbers chapter 30. In case you're new, we'll have the word audio recording. Read it for us. We'll kind of go it together, and then there's a couple things I want to point out in this chapter, and we'll continue on until we're finished. Praise God. Looks like I have to turn up the mic. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, so if you turned it up previously, now you can turn it back down. Sorry, I didn't turn my mic button off. All right, here we go.
If a man vow a vow unto Yahweh, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. If a woman also vow a vow unto Yahweh, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she has bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she has bound her soul shall stand. But if her father disallow her in the day that he hears, not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she has bound her soul shall stand. And Yahweh shall forgive her, because her father disallowed her. And if she had at all a man, when she vowed, or uttered aught out of her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, and her man heard it, and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vows shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her man disallow her on the day he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and all that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, of no effect, and Yahweh shall forgive her. But every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their souls, shall stand against her. And if she vowed in her man's house, or bound her soul by a bond with an oath, and her man heard it, and held his peace at her, and disallowed her not, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her man utterly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceeded out of her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the bond of her soul, shall not stand. Her man has made them void, and Yahweh shall forgive her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her man may establish it, or her man may make it void. But if her man altogether hold his peace at her from day to day, then he establishes all her vows, or all her bonds which are upon her. He confirms them, because he held his peace at her in the day that he heard them. But if he shall anyways make them void after that he heard them, then he shall bear her iniquity. These are the statutes which Yahweh commanded Moshe, between a man and his woman, between the father and his daughter, being yet in her youth in her father's house.
All right, praise Yah. So a plain understanding or just summary of this chapter, of course, is just what comes out of our mouth is so important. We're obviously going to read some words of Messiah concerning that specifically, and this is also going to tie into some of the prophetic implications later on about that David asked the question, "O Yahweh, who will be able to ascend in your holy hill?" And one of the precepts we're about to go over is part of that. So Matthew 12, 36 through 37. So, "But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by your words shall you be justified, and by your words shall you be condemned." So the root of this right here, if we can start off, is right here. I know some people can hide. In the past, people have hid behind a statement of, "Well, I didn't vow a vow." And so I just want to say, it also says, "He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth." I think that's the general understanding. And so someone that is not a man of their word would hide behind this little, not this little, but this technicality. Well, it wasn't a vow, or it wasn't a bond, or whatever. It was just a empty word. I didn't really mean it. Like, okay, really? So I'm thankful that we have more scripture, of course, through like the Proverbs and other books of wisdom, but Messiah also plainly just gives it to us right here how we need to hear it. Like, hey, at the end of the time, all your words are going to be brought before, and it's like, oh man, that makes you really think. Matthew 5, 33 through 37, "Again, ye have heard that has been said of them of old time, you shall not forswear yourself, but shall perform unto Yahweh your oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is Elohim's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shall you swear by your head, because you cannot make one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatever is more than these comes of evil," which in our modern day is yes, no. And I don't believe Messiah is telling us not to have vows at all. I think he's just showing that, hey, here, I'll share it actually here. Because in Deuteronomy, it gives us provision to vow a vow. So as when you shall vow a vow unto Yahweh, you shall not slack to pay it, for Yahweh your Elohim will surely require it of you, and it would be sin to you. But if you shall forbear to vow, so if you don't vow, it shall be no sin unto you. So this general precept that Messiah taught, he reaffirmed here that, hey, you don't have to vow and swear to each other. In our modern day and age, Hollywood, I don't watch movies anymore, but in my previous life when I did, you repeat what you hear, and so I would often find myself swearing to God, on little things, and you're like, why are you swearing to God, on just a little statement where you can just be like, yes, I did that, or no, I didn't do that. I swear to God, why do we have to do that? And so the precept of you don't have to swear, has already been there. So that which is gone out of your lips you shall keep and perform, even a freewill offering according to you have vowed unto Yahweh, which you have promised with your mouth. But the general precept here that we need to understand, because a lot the general behavior of vowing and swearing in this movement, it's not, doesn't appear to be as apparent as it was 2,000 years ago. Apparently the Pharisees and Sadducees were vowing and swearing, everything, every little thing. And so Messiah's like, hey, you can just say yes and no, and you don't have to swear. So also this general precept, I believe Messiah was teaching, is also from Ecclesiastes 5:2-7. Be not rash with your mouth. So don't be quick or hasty with your mouth. Don't be, when I was a child, I remember growing up, I would my mouth would move faster than my mind, and I'd just say things. I'm like, why did I just say that? So we should be slow. And I'm even sitting here thinking, I still deal with, I talk too fast sometimes. And some of you make comments too, please slow down. I can't keep up. So I'm even still dealing with this. I need to be slow down sometimes. I get so excited about some of the things I want to talk about, and I'm just want to get it all out. But anyways, but this is getting to a much deeper level than just speaking fast. And let not your heart be hasty to utter any things before Elohim, for Elohim is in heaven, and you upon the earth. Therefore let your words be few. For a dream comes through the multitude of business, and a fool's voice is known by a multitude of words. When you vow a vow to Elohim, defer not to pay it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay that which you have vowed. Better is it that you should not vow than that you should vow and not pay. Suffer not your mouth to cause your flesh to sin. Neither say you before the angel, that was an error. Wherefore should Elohim be angry at your voice and destroy the work of your hands? From the multitude of dreams and many words there are also diverse vanities, but fear you Elohim. And I've seen this in person. I've seen people make vows, and it's a month later they break that vow, and you're like, hey, brother, didn't you say that you vowed this? And I was like, well, yeah, but Yah showed me that I vowed an error, and you're like, okay. And it's and it's yeah. And so this right here, suffer not your mouth to cause your flesh to sin, neither say you before the angel, that was an error, or the messenger, right? That was an error, right? Because how many of us are dealing with angels day and day? Maybe this is better represented as a messenger, the messenger sent by Yah to, to a brother, hey, brother, you vowed not to do this thing and you're doing it. What's going on? And then response is yeah, I didn't know, I didn't know what I was saying, you can't do that. You can't do that. Luke 6:45, a good man out of the, so even deeper about, speech and what's in your heart. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth that which is good, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart brings forth that which is evil. For the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so, even going a step further than this, what goes into your heart? And that's why we really have to be careful about what we're consuming in our eyes, in our ears, because it goes into our heart, and what goes into our heart comes back out. Proverbs 16:1-3, the preparations of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from Yahweh. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but Yahweh weighs the spirits. Commit your works unto Yahweh, and your thoughts shall be established. And so he literally is I'll change the way you think. Just set yourself on my ways. And so, speaking about some of the prophecies we're going to talk about later today about end times, second Exodus, House of David, Heshbon specifically. That's going to be in today's Torah portion, where they take over the capital city of Moab, Heshbon, and it becomes their stronghold and their foothold to go in and take the promised land. Psalm 15 says, Yahweh, who shall abide in your tabernacle? Who shall dwell in your holy hill? So I don't know about you, I want to know the answer to this question, because I want to be one of those people. I don't think that's a bad thing to be bold, to strive for, and to as a life goal, right? He that walks uprightly, that works righteousness. This is all talk about obedience to Torah. Speaks the truth in his heart. That's a third way of saying the same exact thing. He that backbites not with his tongue. Now this is a good one. This is like wilderness stuff about murmuring, and nor does evil to his neighbor, nor takes up a reproach against his neighbor, in whose eyes a vile person is condemned, but he honors them that fears Yahweh. Now this is it right here. I read all that to read this. He that swears to his own hurt and changes not. So what does that look like practically application today? It's very simple. Hey, brother, do this thing for me, and I'll pay you $100. And the person does it, and then you're like, oh, well, I'm sorry, brother. I ran out of money, and I had to pay this bill, and I don't have that $100. I'll get it to you next week. Whereas that's unrighteous. Where a righteous person would be like, oh, man, I told so-and-so that I'd give him the $100. I had this bill to pay. I got to pay this brother first before I even pay my own bills. So he that swears to his own hurt. So in that example, the hurt was I won't be able to pay my own bills in order to fulfill what came out of my mouth. And so that's obviously a very small example of the many things that can be. And obviously this type of precept can be applied to much bigger things, much bigger promises, much bigger problems, where keeping your word should be of utmost importance, even to your own detriment, or even your own suffering, or even your own whatever it may be. And this is qualities of people that will abide in His tabernacle. And so, what is the overall point? Is that we need to be men and women of our word. This is right here. He shall do according to that which proceeds out of his mouth. I don't think the main point here is to learn how to do a vow. I'm sure if anyone wants to do a vow, do one. I mean, the Nazarite vow is near and dear to my heart. It's something that was, I believe, was placed in my heart, and something I wanted to walk in, which was a vow. I vowed to walk in that Nazarite vow, and I take it very seriously. I've seen people take the Nazarite vow and then oopsie, like a month later, and it's like, yeah, never mind. I was just, I didn't know what I was thinking or whatever. And I'm not trying to condemn anybody out there. I want to share like what kind of people we should be like. We should be people that are like, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this with all my heart. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it with all my heart. So it's like, in a greater way, like we're going to follow Yahweh. We're going to actually do it and not just take His name in vain, which is to like, oh yeah, I follow Messiah. I'm a disciple of Messiah, and I keep the commandments, but do so in a very lukewarm sense, or only when it suits your convenience. And so, yeah. The other thing that's also usually zoned in by men that come into this movement is this kind of coincides with Genesis 3:16, where it's like the man shall rule over the woman. And for some men, they take this very seriously, and they look at the life of Messiah, a real leader, and want to look up over that example and lead the home in that way of meekness and humility. But there's some men that take this in a much different way and become tyrants. It's almost like now, some of the two greatest challenges of life are wealth and position. And most people the challenge is too hard to overcome. And so consider that Yahweh puts every man in position. And so it's up to a man to decide what kind of man he'll be, whether he'll be a man that will abuse the position or take it seriously. And so this is Genesis 3:16, unto the woman He said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In sorrow shall you bring forth children. It's hard times, right? And your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you. So again, some men are like, oh man, this is a pretty big responsibility. I need to take this really seriously. And and there's some men that are like, read that, honey? Things are going to change around here. Matthew 20:25-28, but Yahusha called on them and said, you know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them. But it shall not be so among you. But whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. And that's really the position that a leader of the home shall be, is not like, hey, look what Yahweh said, I'm the boss. Y'all need to listen to me or else. You know? Or more of like, hey, wow, Yahweh put a pretty big responsibility. It's my job to keep this house in order. And you can be you can rule with a heavy hand in your house, or you can rule like Messiah. He says, and whoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant, even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give him a life, his life a ransom for many. And so, as a leader of a home myself, I look at the life of Messiah and want to serve my family. Now, that doesn't mean you just, men, you just put on the apron and just, become the butler and the chef and I'm just, but in a way, you're there to guard, to protect, just much like a shepherd looking over the flock, making sure the fences are intact, making sure that there's no yucky number two stuff, in there, making sure that there's clean food, whether it's leading them to pastures, or rotating the pastures, or feeding them with clean hay or provender. In a similar way, a man should overlook his home and make sure that it's running well and taken care of. And if there are needs, that they're met. And if there's issues, then they're brought forward to him, is not a tyrant and be like, I said so. And to honestly hear people, and to be slow to speak and quick to hear. And anyways, so after he had washed their feet and taken his garments and was set down again, he said to them, you know what I've done to you? You call me Master and Lord, and you say, well, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done unto you. And you're smart enough to figure out what that may look like in your home. 1 Peter 3, 1-7, likewise, you wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may, without the word, be won by the conversation of the wise. And I just want to say, this Torah portion does show us that men have authority in the home. And obviously, this is even to the effect where if a woman says, I vow a thing, a man can be like, honey, I love you, but I just don't think that's a great idea. I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to go and renege that vow. And here's why. And give a good reason, rather than, no, that's a big no from me. There's different ways of approaching these things. But the point is, of course, is that the men do have authority. And so this is an interesting perspective for some of you women out there that may, especially maybe some of you women that may have husbands that don't believe. Literally, this passage said, Peter says, hey, be an obedient wife to your husband, walk in the commandments, but be a good example to your husband. While they behold your chaste conversation, this word really means more behavior, coupled with fear, who is adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of the plaiting of the hair and the wearing of the gold, or the putting on apparel, but let it be the hidden man or woman of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of Elohim of great price. For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in Elohim adorned themselves, being in subjection to their own husbands. So let me just say this, women. If you want to see a massive change in your husbands, give them unconditional respect. Now, does that mean to not speak up if there's sin, or if there's things going on, or to just take abuse? No, that's different. That's different. I'm talking about if you have a good-willed husband that may just not understand the truth, or just doesn't want to hear, or whatever. Show your husband respect, which is what Peter's basically saying right here. He's talking about a woman that's respectful to her husband, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him master, whose daughters you are, as long as you do well and are not afraid with any amazement. Likewise, you husbands, dwell with him according. So, what I meant to say, show your husband respect, and honestly respect some of the things he does do well, and let him know about those things. You'll see a change in your husband. You'll see a new man. It's the one thing that most men do not receive and desperately need. Just as women need love and thrive with love and wither away without love, so men likewise respect. So likewise, you husbands dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor to the wife as unto the weaker vessel. So this isn't about oppression. And this is the one thing I've seen in this movement. When men receive the Torah, they go one of two ways. They either go the way of truth, or they go a way of sourness. In that some of you have seen it. In the Torah movement, you have seen some of the best people in the world, and you've seen some of the worst people in the world. And I've seen husbands take this understanding of, right, I'm the boss, and have become tyrants. Even to the effect of beating their wives, striking their women, and using the word of Yah and saying, I'm boss. And even stating scripture, the Ten Commandments, to treat them as just mere possessions that can be dealt with in such lowly ways. This is not leadership. That's tyranny, and it's oppression, and it's weakness. So giving honor unto the wife, unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. So you wonder, some of you men are about there like, why my prayers aren't being answered? Are you treating your woman with love, with honor? And then Ephesians 5, go ahead, read 21 through 33. I've kind of paraphrased really everything that's written here. This is a confirmation. And also how Messiah looks at us as his woman, So, if from time to time, I'm just going to move on from that. So I want to make mention of what I was just sharing with Sirach. Sirach 4:29 says, do not be reckless in your speech or sluggish and remiss in your deeds. Now here it is. Do not be like a lion in your home, nor be a fault finder with your servants. So you guys know the difference. You've probably seen different bosses in your life. Ron, where there's that nitpicker that finds every little problem with what you do, and the other one that's like forgiving, that understands that you make a mistake, but obviously correction and love. And there's a time to be a lion. Like Abraham, there was a time he was a lion. Messiah, there was even a time he was a lion, but it wasn't in his own home, like his own intimate home. Like I don't see Abraham being a fierce lion throwing stuff around. So, anyways, point is, and I just also want to say, there's also some men have really failed to see the importance of women, of treating men as this hierarchy thing, which men do have the leadership, but it's like that woman's supposed to be a chad. Just like if Yahweh is the husband and we're the bride, I mean, Paul even talks about it, we become co-heirs. It's not just like how the mainstream Christian church shows it, where he's up there and we're just some totally useless thing that can never do right, and we're just like, well, no, he's like, hey, get up, and you can do, Messiah says, you'll do greater works than I did. And so I'm excited of the possibilities of such. So I also want to say, we also learn in here, right here in verse 11, and her man heard it and held his peace at her and disallowed her not, then all her vows shall stand. I believe this gives credibility to the understanding that silence is complicity. So you're being complicit, or you're part of the problem. If you see an issue and you don't speak up or do something about it, you're complicit with their actions. So this precept in the Torah, a man hearing the woman's vow and being like, even if it's in his mind, he's like, oh gosh, my woman should not have said that, and he's like, doesn't say anything. Hey, Yahweh's like, hey, it sticks. Whereas the man could have said something and be like, hey, honey, I love you, but that can't happen, or such and such. Here's why. Or if he held his mouth. And so in a similar way, there's greater things to learn from that if we see wrong and we're complicit and we don't say anything, we're complicit with it. We're okay with it. And, yeah. All right, let's go on to 31.
Bemidbar, Numbers chapter 31. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying,
Avenge the children of Yasharel of the Midianim. Afterward shall you be gathered unto your people.
And Moshe spoke unto the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves unto the war, and let them go against the Midianim, and avenge Yahweh of Midian. Of every tribe 1,000, throughout all the tribes of Yashrael shall ye send to the war. So there were delivered out of the thousands of Yashrael 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war. And Moshe sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Pinechas, the son of Eleazar the priest, to the war, with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand. And they warred against the Midianim, as Yahweh commanded Moshe, and they slew all the males. And they slew the kings of Midian, beside the rest of them that were slain, namely Evi, and Rechem, and Sur, and Horai, and Reva, 5 kings of Midian. Bilam also, the son of Beor, they slew with the sword. And the children of Yashrael took all the women of Midian captives, and their little ones, and took the spoil of all their cattle, and all their flocks, and all their goods. And they burnt all their cities wherein they dwelt, and all their goodly castles with fire. And they took all the spoil, and all the prey, both of men and of beasts. And they brought the captives, and the prey, and the spoil unto Moshe, and Eleazar the priest, and unto the assembly of the children of Yashrael, unto the camp at the plains of Moab, which are by the Yarden, near Jericho. And Moshe, and Eleazar the priest, and all the princes of the assembly went forth to meet them without the camp. And Moshe was wroth with the officers of the host, with the captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, which came from the battle. And Moshe said unto them, Have ye saved all the women alive? Behold, these caused the children of Yashrael, through the counsel of Bilam, to commit transgression against Yahweh in the matter of Peor. And there was a plague among the assembly of Yahweh. Now therefore, kill every male among the little ones, every woman that has known man by lying with him. But all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. And do ye abide without the camp 7 days, whosoever has killed any person, and whosoever has touched any slain. Purify both yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day. And purify all your raiment, and all that is made of skins, and all work of goat's hair, and all things made of wood. And Eleazar the priest said unto the men of war which went to the battle,
This is the ordinance of the Torah, which Yahweh commanded Moshe. Only the gold and the silver and the brass and the iron and the tin and the lead, everything that may abide the fire, ye shall make it go through the fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall be purified with the water of separation, and all that abides not the fire ye shall make go through the water. And ye shall wash your clothes on the 7th day, and ye shall be clean. And afterward ye shall come into the camp.
And Yahweh spoke unto El Moshe, saying,
Take the sum of the prey that was taken, both of man and of beast, you and Eleazar the priest, and the chief fathers of the assembly, and divide the prey into 2 parts, between them that took the war upon them, who went out to battle, and between all the assembly. And levy a tribute unto Yahuwah of the men of war which went out to battle, 1 soul of 500, both of the persons, and of the cattle, and of the asses, and of the sheep. Take it of their half, and give it unto Eleazar the priest, for a heave offering of Yahuwah. And of the children of Yasharel's half, you shall take 1 portion of 50, of the persons, of the cattle, of the asses, and of the flocks, of all manner of beasts, and give them unto the Leviim, which guard the watch of the tabernacle of Yahuwah.
And Moshe and Eleazar the priest did as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And the booty, being the rest of the prey which the men of war had caught, was 600,000 and 70,000 and 5,000 sheep, and 612,000 cattle, and 1,000 asses, and 32,000 persons in all, of women that had not known man by lying with him. And the half, which was the portion of them that went out to war, was in number 300,007 and 30,500 sheep. And Yahweh's tribute of the sheep was 615. And the cattle were 36,000, of which Yahweh's tribute was 12. And the asses were 30,500, of which Yahweh's tribute was 61. And the persons were 16,000, of which Yahweh's tribute was 32 persons. And Moshe gave the tribute, which was Yahweh's heave offering, unto Eleazar the priest, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And of the children of Yasharel's half, which Moshe divided from the men that warred, now the half that pertained unto the assembly was 300,000 and 30,000 and 7,500 sheep, and 36,000 cattle, and 30,000 asses, and 500, and 16,000 persons. Even the children of Yasharel's half, Moshe took one portion of 50, both of man and of beast, and gave them unto the Leviim, which did guard the watch of the tabernacle of Yahweh, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And the officers which were over thousands of the host, the captains of thousands, and captains of hundreds, came near unto El Moshe. And they said unto El Moshe,
Your servants have taken the sum of the men of war which are under our charge, and there lacks not one man of us. We have therefore brought an oblation for Yahuwah, that every man has gotten, of jewels of gold, chains and bracelets, rings, earrings, and tablets, to make an atonement for our souls before Yahuwah.
And Moshe and Eleazar the priest took the gold of them, even all wrought jewels, and all the gold of the offering that they offered up to Yahweh, of the captains of thousands, and of the captains of hundreds, was 16,750 shekels. For the men of war had taken spoil, every man for himself. And Moshe and Eleazar the priest took the gold of the captains of thousands and of hundreds, and brought it into the tabernacle of the assembly, for a memorial for the children of Yasharel before Yahweh.
Man, sometimes I don't know what it is about not having flocks before, and then just not even really even thinking about, like, what is 36,000 cattle? Like, what is that? I mean, there was a time here where we had 6 cows, and seeing how much, and just hearing from the shepherds how much work went into them. And then I think now we have maybe like 30 sheep, maybe 32 sheep, something like that. And just knowing how much goes into that with the shepherding aspect, and the feed, and the cleanliness required, and the care, and then what was it, 600,000 sheep? Like, what is that? Anyways, I just even just thinking of like what kind of fencing is needed right now for 30 sheep, and like thinking of, because next chapter we're going to read about them taking over the first portion of the promised land, having a little stronghold, and then they're like, let's places for our cattle and our sheep, and it's like, what does fencing for 600,000 sheep look like? So, anyways, some of you, and I grew up a city boy, right? I grew up in Southern California, and some of you city dwellers are also like, okay, what does that even mean? Anyways, so here at the beginning we have they get revenge, and the vengeance, of course, is Yahweh's, and Yahweh initiates. He's like, all right, it's time. And man, after the last couple chapters, you even see, even it mentions Balaam specifically. He said Balaam also gone. He turned back from his ways. He turned back to his old wicked ways, and Yahweh got him. In the future, you see something similar in Revelation, where you have the sealing of the 12,000 from each of the tribes of Israel. And if anyone out there is new, we don't believe that there's the children of Israel and then the church. We believe that the assembly, the church, is the children of Israel. It's the same thing. And so you have the 144,000. I believe in a similar way you have men numbered for war, and then you have this great multitude with them. And speaking of warfare, you see here them sent to war, 1,000 of every tribe. In the future, it's going to be 12,000 from every tribe, because you're going to have all the nations of the earth coming together. What does that look like? A couple billion people? So maybe, Yahweh can do it with one person, himself. Yahushua can come down and be like, no. But he's going to use people, as he always does. And so, of course, you see the priests with the holy instruments, musical, no doubt, and the trumpets to blow in his hand. And one of my favorite stories, 2 Chronicles 20 through 23. Actually, if you have time, read the whole chapter. But just to get to the point, they had all these nations coming against Judah. Jehoshaphat's the king. He's righteous, seeking Yahweh. Amazing prayer, just recounting the promises that Yahweh has recounted. There's something about these massive prayers that were answered where they bring forward the promises that Yahweh promised of old. And he's like, okay, you're right. It's like a judge, like, bring me the evidence. Okay, you're right. You're right. You reminded me about let's do it. So, and they rose early in the morning and went forth into the wilderness of Tekoa. And as they went forth, Jehoshaphat stood and said, hear me, O Judah, and you inhabitants of Jerusalem. Believe in Yahweh Elohim, so shall you be established. Believe his prophets, so shall you prosper. And when he had consulted with the people, he appointed singers unto Yahweh, that they should praise the beauty of holiness. Wow. And as they went out before the army, and to say, praise Yahweh, for his mercy endures forever. So they're literally in the front of the army, the singers, singing this. And when they began to sing and praise, Yahweh set ambushments against the children of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, which were come against Judah, and they were smitten. For the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, utterly to slay and destroy them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, everyone helped to destroy them. And we see that in Revelation, we see it in Ezekiel. That's going to happen again, and that's going to be the time where the blood is going to be up to the horse's bridle, and literally you have all the people coming against this one place that apparently is going to be a burdensome stone for everybody in the world. They're going to hate it. They're going to want to come against it. Even the people. That's what Psalm 2 says. The kings of the earth, or why do the nations rage, and the people. So it's the nations and the people imagine a vain thing against Jerusalem. But Yahweh's like, I set my king on Mount Zion. I shall declare the decree. You are my son. This day I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I shall give you the nations for your possession. You shall dash them like pottery. All right. And so in a similar way, in the end times, we're going to see that there's this, it's going to be won by song. The battle is going to be won by song. Isaiah 30, 27 through 32, behold, the name of Yahweh comes from far, burning with his anger, and the burden thereof is heavy. His lips are full of indignation. His tongue as a devouring fire, and his breath as an overflowing stream shall reach to the midst of the neck to sift the nations with the sieve of vanity. And there shall be a bridle in the jaws of the people, causing them to err. There's going to be bad doctrine as a bridle, controlling the mouth of the people, causing them to err. And that's why in Psalm 2, it literally says, why do the heathen or the nations rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Why? Because there's going to be a bridle in the jaws of the people, causing them to err. You shall have a song as in the night when a holy solemnity is kept, and gladness of heart, as when one goes with a pipe to come to the mountain of Yahweh, to the mighty one of Israel. I just had this vision of Lyndon, like dressed in like an Irish suit with a pipe and like a little hat, and Yahweh shall cause his glorious voice to be heard, and shall show the lightning down of his arm with the indignation of his anger, and with the flame of a devouring fire, with scattering and tempest and hailstones. Listen, for through the voice of Yahweh shall the Assyrian be beat down, which the Assyrian is like Pharaoh, like in the last days, Moab, Edom, which smote with the rod. And listen to this, in every place where the grounded staff or the tribe shall pass, which Yahweh shall lay upon him, it shall be with tabrets and harps, and in battles of shaking will he fight with. This is going to be a different type of battle. This is going to be a battle fought with song and dance, in my opinion. You see something similar here. This is breaking the yoke of the Assyrian. For you have broken the yoke of his burden and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, no doubt the Pharaoh, the Assyrian in the last days, as in the day of Midian, which is what we're reading about in these last few chapters. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. For unto us a child is born, a son is given. And this is about the throne of David being restored. And we know Yahushua came to take back that which was lost. And I believe in the last days, he's going to set his people. He even tells the disciples, I'm going to set you on the thrones, judging the tribes of Israel. So, anyways, it's going to be done with music. Praise the Most High. And then 31:18, going back to Numbers 31:18. Some of these things may seem a little hard about killing all the males and leaving the women. Well, consider leaving the women. I think that's excellent. But recognizing Revelation 19, we have to recognize that we either believe him in everything, or we just believe some things, and some things we're like, we don't understand. So I'm going to have a negative disposition towards that decision. We can't be like that. We can't be rebellious children. We either completely trust our Father or we don't. And I'm at a point where I trust him completely. For his judgments are true and just. And so even though he's going to be coming with fire and there's going to be lots of loss of life, I know that he's doing it for the greater good of his kingdom, the earth, the inhabitants of the kingdom, who's in it, who's not. I trust him completely. He has judged the great harlot who corrupted the earth with her fornication, and he has avenged her on the blood of his servants. 2 Ezra 7:19-25, and he said to me, you are not a better judge than Elohim, or wiser than the Most High. Let many perish who are now living, rather than the law of Elohim, which is set before them, be disregarded. For Elohim strictly commanded those who came into the world when they came what they should do to live, and what they should observe to avoid punishment. Nevertheless, they were not obedient and spoke against him. They devised for themselves vain thoughts and proposed to themselves wicked frauds. They even declared that the Most High does not exist, and they ignored his ways. They scorned his laws, denied his covenants, and have been unfaithful to his statutes, and have not performed his works. And so this is why he can say, let many who are perished now living, rather than the law of Elohim, be disregarded. So at some point, things have to be restored on this earth. The earth needs to be ran in Torah. That's how it was created. And that's why it's sad. And that's why the crops are mourning. And that's why the locusts are eating it up. And that's why we're living in times, I have to go through all that. But there is going to be a restoration. And the wicked needs to be cut down in order for that to happen. I'm going to skip that. I've got a couple other notes here in the study notes if any of you guys want to go through it. And, and so obviously a large portion after this defeat, they were like instantly rich. This is even before they got the inheritances. They're instantly rich with this amount of animals. And now they're about to go into the initial part of the promised land, like getting a little foothold or gaining a stronghold, which is what Heshbon is called. Heshbon is the capital of Moab, where Sihon, the giant, reigned from. They took that over and were basically like, yeah, we're going to set up camp here. And getting a foothold in the territory of the promised land, now we're going to go out and take it. And that's the prophecy we're going to read here, or from a couple weeks ago, that a fire shall come forth from Heshbon and shall destroy the enemies. And so let's take a look at Numbers 32 about gaining a foothold or a stronghold in the promised land, where the basis of Yah's operations go forth from there. So Numbers 32, let's go, and we'll get to kind of the meat of this Torah portion, at least the prophetic meat, if you will.
Bemidbar, Numbers chapter 32. Now the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had a very great multitude of cattle. And when they saw the land of Ya'azer and the land of Gilead, that behold, the place was for cattle, the children of Gad and the children of Reuben came and spoke unto Moshe, and to Eleazar the priest, and unto the princes of the assembly, saying,
Ataroth, Divon, Ya'ezer, and Nimrah, and Heshbon, and El-Allah, and Sevam, and Nevu, and Beon, even the country which Yahuwah smote before the assembly of Yasharel, is a land for cattle. and your servants have cattle. Wherefore said they, If we have found grace in your sight, let this land be given unto your servants for a possession, and bring us not over the Yarden.
And Moshe said unto the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, Shall your brethren go to war, and shall ye sit here? And wherefore discourage ye the heart of the children of Yashrael from going over into the land which Yahweh has given them? Thus did your fathers, when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up unto the valley of Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Yashrael, that they should not go into the land which Yahweh had given them. And Yahweh's anger was kindled the same time. And he swore, saying, Surely none of the men that came up out of Mitzrayim from 20 years old and upward shall see the land which I swore unto Avraham, unto Yitzchak, and unto Yaakov, because they have not wholly followed me, save Caleb the son of Yefuneh the Kenizzite, and Yahusha the son of Nun, for they have wholly followed Yahweh. And Yahweh's anger was kindled against Yashrael, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until all the generation that had done evil in the sight of Yahweh was consumed. And behold, ye are risen up in your father's stead, an increase of sinful men, to augment yet the fierce anger of Yahweh toward El Yashrael. For if ye turn away from after him, he will yet again leave them in the wilderness, and ye shall destroy all this people. And they came near unto him and said,
We will build sheepfolds here for our cattle, and cities for our little ones. But we ourselves will go ready armed before the children of Yasharel, until we have brought them in unto their place. And our little ones shall dwell in the fenced cities, because of the inhabitants of the land. We will not return unto our houses until the children of Yasharel have inherited every man his inheritance. For we will not inherit with them on yonder side of the Yarden, or forward, because our inheritance is fallen to us on this side of the Yarden, eastward.
And Moshe said unto them, If ye will do this thing, if ye will go armed before Yahweh to war, and will go all of you armed over the Yarden before Yahweh, until he has driven out his enemies from before him, and the land be subdued before Yahweh, then afterward ye shall return, and be guiltless before Yahweh, and before Yashrael, and this land shall be your possession before Yahweh. But if ye will not do so, behold, ye have sinned against Yahweh, and be sure your sin will find you out. Build you cities for your little ones, and folds for your sheep, and do that which has proceeded out of your mouth. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben spoke unto Moshe, saying,
Your servants will do as my Lord commands. Our little ones, our women, our flocks, and our cattle shall be there in the cities of Gilad. But your servants will pass over, every man armed for war, before Yahweh to battle, as my Lord says.
So concerning them Moshe commanded Eleazar the priest, and Yahusha the son of Nun, and the chief fathers of the tribes of the children of Yashrael. And Moshe said unto them, If the children of Gad and the children of Reuben will pass with you over of the Yarden, every man armed to battle, before Yahweh, and the land shall be subdued before you, then ye shall give them the land of Gilead for a possession. But if they will not pass over with you armed, they shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben answered, saying,
As Yahweh has said unto your servants, so will we do. We will pass over armed before Yahweh into the land of Canaan, that the possession of our inheritance on this side of the Yarden may be ours.
And Moshe gave unto them, even to the children of Gad, and to the children of Reuben, and unto the half-tribe of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorim, and the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, the land, with the cities thereof in the coasts, even the cities of the country round about. And the children of Gad built Divon, and Ataroth, and Aroer, and Atroth, Shofan, and Yazer, Yogbeha, and Beit Nimrah, and Beit Haran, fenced cities, and folds for sheep. And the children of Reuven built Heshbon, and Elaeh, and Kiriathaim, and Nevu, and Baal Meon, their names being changed, and Sevam, and gave other names unto the cities which they built. And the children of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilead, and took it, and dispossessed the Emori which was in it. And Moshe gave Gilead unto Machir, the son of Manasseh, and he dwelt therein. And Yair, the son of Manasseh, went and took the small towns thereof, and called them Chavoth Yair. And Novach went and took Kenath, and the villages thereof, and called it Novach after his own name.
All right, praise Yah. So, chapter 32, a lot going on here. I really specifically want to talk about this kind of foothold they gain before they go into the promised land. So that women and children can be there safe, and it's like we can go out and do the work of Yahweh, subdue the nations, gain our inheritance, then be a light, right? Praise Yah. I think I might be oversimplifying it, but any case, wanted to make mention some of the obvious glaring things that these Torah portions can remind us every year is to not just think about our needs and our family's needs, because even Moses said, he gave them the option, you can do it, but obviously severely dissuaded them from doing so and from being selfish, which would be just to think of their family's safety and be like, whew, we're in the promised land, great. Y'all have fun dealing with the rest of the... thanks for helping us get our house. We're going to hang out here. Y'all have fun taking the rest, getting your houses. No. Thanks for helping us get our house and our land. Now we're going to help you get yours as well, right? So, praise Yah. And like I said, it's kind of like a military outpost. It's like a military campaign. They came in and got a foothold in the promised land as a base of operations. They built some fences and got some structure and order, and then go out and take care of business, right? So specifically Heshbon really stuck out to me. Heshbon was the capital city, and this is really bringing in some elements from the last few weeks. Some of the House of David stuff I've been talking about at Ancient Path Revivals. I re-uploaded some of those on Parable. But Numbers 21, this is a couple weeks ago. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites, and Heshbon and all the villages thereof. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and taken all his lands out of his hand, even unto Arnon. Wherefore they that speak in Proverbs say, Come into Heshbon, let the city of Sihon be built and prepared, for there is a fire gone out of Heshbon, and a flame from the city of Sihon. It has consumed the cities of Moab, and the lords of the high places of Arnon. And so I believe this is a prophecy to build up this place Heshbon, and from Heshbon, this fire is going to go out and devour the enemies. Kind of some of the stuff that we were talking about earlier about how, we read, that fire is going to go out and consume his enemies, for unto us a son is born, and all that good stuff. So going a little further into Moab, if you haven't seen previous studies, personally, I'm at a place where I have concluded that I believe Moab is a prophetic name for America. America is called many different names, in my opinion. Egypt, Moab. Specifically what we're about to read, we'll see Isaiah 19 talks about how Yahweh will come in like an eagle into Egypt, and will destroy the idols of Egypt, and will set Egyptians against the Egyptians, and will make the heart of the Egyptians melt. We'll see something very similar, not exact, but similar here for Moab. So here, O you that dwell in Moab, leave the cities and dwell in the rock, and be like the dove that makes her nest in the sides of the hole's mouth. This is a poetic, prophetic parable to flee wickedness like the dove and flee to the mountains, which really is a really poetic way of saying this. And there's other passages that are better. It says, if you will hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh Elohim, to observe to do all his commandments. So remember, by the voice of Yahweh will the Assyrian be beat down. So there's a group of people that are going to obey the voice of Yahweh, to observe all his commandments, which I command you this day, that Yahweh will set you on high above all the nations of the earth. And so this is, right, be like the dove that makes her nest in the sides of the hole's mouth. So be like this clean bird that keeps the Torah and gets set on high by Yahweh himself. Not they don't set themselves on high. Yahweh sets them on high. You take the lowest seat, meekness, humility, but yet he will raise you to the higher seat. We have heard the pride of Moab. So Moab is exceeding proud. Think of what country could be signified in that. His loftiness, his arrogancy, his pride, the haughtiness of his heart. I know his wrath, says Yahweh, but it shall not be so. His lies shall not so affect it. Now, therefore will I howl for Moab. I will cry out for all of Moab. Now, why would the Most High cry for this country? Maybe it's a country that proclaims the blood of his Son, which is true, and baptism, and receiving the Holy Spirit, all true things, but everything else is almost a lie. Forsaking the Torah, forsaking the entire discipleship and one's walk to follow like Messiah. My heart shall mourn for the men of Kir Heres. O vine of Sibma, I will weep for you with the weeping Jazer. Your plants are gone over the sea. And another, in Isaiah 16, your branches have gone over the sea, indicating that this has a worldly power, a worldly dominance. They reach even into the sea of Jazer. The spoiler is fallen upon your summer fruits and upon your vintage. My joy and gladness is taken from the plentiful field and from the land of Moab, and I have caused wine to fail from the wine presses. Now think of what country is more of a doctrine factory than this country, whether good or bad. This country is a doctrine factory. None shall tread with shouting. Their shouting shall be no shouting. From the cry of Heshbon even unto Elaeh, even unto Jahaz have they uttered the voice. From Zoar even unto Horonaim, as a heifer of 3 years old, for the waters also of Nimrin shall be desolate. This is for another time. Moreover, I will cause to cease in Moab, says Yahweh, him that offers in the high places, and of him that burns incense to his Elohim. This reminds me a lot of what's written in Ezekiel 16 about how in every one of her street corners there's a high place that opens her feet to every passerby. And, of course, is fornicating, which, in my opinion, mainstream Christian theology leads sheep away from the truth and into synchronism, sun god worship, and many other things that Yahweh hates. Therefore my heart shall sound for Moab like pipes. My heart shall sound like pipes for the men of Kires, because the riches that he has gotten are perished. For every head shall be bald, and every beard clipped. Upon the hands shall be cuttings, upon the loins sackcloth. There shall be lamentation generally upon all the housetops of Moab. I think a lot of people know this is coming to America. And in the streets thereof, for I have broken Moab like a vessel wherein is no pleasure, says Yahweh. They shall howl, saying, how is it broken down? How has Moab turned the back with shame? Now, a lot of you know, turning the back to Yahweh is turning away from his commandments. So shall Moab be a derision and dismaying to all them about him. For thus says Yahweh, behold, he shall fly as an eagle, and shall spread his wings over Moab. Kirioth is taken, the strongholds are surprised, the mighty men's hearts in Moab at that day shall be as the heart of a woman in her pangs, and Moab shall be destroyed from being a people, because he has magnified himself against Yahweh. Fear and the pit and the snare shall be upon you, O inhabitant of Moab, says Yahweh. Now he that flees from the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that gets up out of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For I will bring upon it, even upon Moab, the year of their visitation, says Yahweh. Now they that fled stood under the shadow of Heshbon because of the force. But a fire shall come forth out of Heshbon, and a flame from the midst of Sihon shall devour the corner of Moab, and the crown of the head of the tumultuous ones. I believe this is more of that prophetic understanding. This is talking about those who do flee, like as in this same fleeing as in where it talks about, where was it? Talking about the dove flee. Oh yeah. Leave the cities, dwell in the rock. I believe these people flee to Heshbon. Give me a chance to explain myself. Isaiah 16, send ye the lamb to the ruler of the land, from Selah, from the rock to the wilderness, unto the mount of the daughter of Zion. For it shall be that, as a wandering bird cast out of the nest, so shall the daughters of Moab be at the fords of Arnon. I believe this is that prophetic thing that we're seeing in a future sense, where it says in Numbers, I think it's 21, wherefore it is said what Yahweh has done at the Red Sea and what he did at the fords of Arnon. I believe this is a future thing to come. Take counsel, execute judgment, make your shadow as the night in the midst of the noonday, hide the outcasts, bewray not him that wanders. I believe this is talking about this shadow, they that fled under the shadow of Heshbon because of the forest. Now, I believe this is talking about a group of people. Right here, take counsel, execute right ruling. So start walking in the Torah. Make your shadow as the night in the midst of the noonday. Be bright, walking in the Torah. Hide the outcast. Now this is to Moab. Hide my outcast. Bewray not him that wanders. Now this is from my understanding, command from Yahweh to Moab. Let my outcast dwell with you, Moab. So even though this is the peak of the sinful kingdoms coming together, it's like a end times Tower of Babel, all the different nations coming together as a melting pot, to have this kind of mishmash place where almost do as thou wilt. Well, guess what? That allows us to do as we will, and we will do the Torah of the Most High. So let my outcast dwell with you, Moab. Be a covert or a covering to them. Hide them from the face of the spoiler. For the extortioner is at an end, the spoiler ceases, the oppressors are consumed out of the land. Now listen to this. And in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth. So in Torah, in the house of David, judging, seeking judgment, and hasting righteousness. We have heard, now, so I believe this is that Isaiah 9. This is that the promised son. We have heard the pride of Moab. He is very proud, even of his haughtiness and his pride and his wrath, but his lies shall not be so. I believe this is talking about America. So here, this is what's interesting. This is I believe this is the center point of everything, is America. Here's more evidence. Isaiah 25:5. You shall bring down the noise of the strangers as the heat in a dry place, even the heat with the shadow of a cloud. The branch of the terrible ones shall be brought low. And in this mountain, which we're going to see is Moab, shall Yahweh of hosts make unto all people a feast of fat things, a feast of wines and the lees, of fat things on the marrow, of wines and the lees, well refined. And he will destroy in this mountain, which we'll see again here in a second, is Moab, the face of the covering cast over all the people, and the veil that is spread over all the nations. What more deceitful country other than America exists, who casts over all the people, especially even the supposed gospel going out that leads people to salvation, but then after that leads them to the broad road, the broad way. He will swallow up death in victory, and Yahweh Elohim will wipe away all tears from all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall he take away from off the earth, for Yahweh has spoken it. And it shall be said in that day, Lo, this is our Elohim, we have waited for him, and he will save us. This is Yahweh, we have waited for him, we will be glad and rejoice in his salvation. For in this mountain shall the hand of Yahweh rest, and Moab shall be trodden down under him. So literally, Moab is this high, tall, exalted mountain that towers over the nations. In the top of that mountain, at the center of it, Yahweh is going to put his house of David to topple the rest of the nations. And it's going to be done in spirit and truth. But getting back to Heshbon, Heshbon is this stronghold that begins all this. Kind of like before. They come out of Egypt, proven, tested, and they begin their conquest by attaining Heshbon. Song of Solomon 7:4-5. This is Yahweh looking at his beloved. Your neck is as a tower of ivory, your eyes like the fish pools in Heshbon. By the gate of Beth Rabim, your nose is the tower of Lebanon, which looks toward Damascus. Your head upon you is like Carmel, and the hair of your head like purple. The king is held in galleries. And so, specifically in Song of Solomon, Yehusha talks about his beloved as Heshbon, Carmel, Sharon, a lot of these poetic names that you see all throughout the prophets. And then you read in the prophets, you're like, oh, I see what you're talking about here. You're talking about your group of people who are coming together in these last days. And it happens in this barren wasteland. Isaiah 35, the wilderness, so the desert and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing, and the glory of Lebanon shall be given to it, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of Yahweh and the excellency of our Elohim. Strengthen ye the weak hands, and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, Be strong, and fear not. Behold, your Elohim will come with vengeance, even Elohim with a recompense. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, no doubt to the Torah. The ears of the deaf shall be unstopped, no doubt those who are deaf to hearing of the words of Yahweh, but will abide in the voice. Then shall the lame man leap as a hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness water shall break out, and streams in the desert. And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. And so, anyways, this is talking about the rearing up of the house of David. Going back to here, verse 4 of Isaiah 9, For you have broken the yoke of his burden, the staff of his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, as in the day of Midian. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty El, the Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and of the peace there shall be no end, upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it, to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of Yahweh Sebaot will perform this. Yahweh sent a word into Jacob and has lighted upon Israel. And so this is that beginning here. That fire has to be lit. David prophesies about this, the end times generation. In my opinion, in Psalm 18, verse 23, I was also upright before him, and I kept myself from my iniquity. Therefore has Yahweh repaid me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands and his eyesight. Now, we read that earlier in Psalm 15. Yahweh, who's going to dwell in your hill? One of them was clean hands. With the merciful, you will show yourself merciful. With an upright man, you will show yourself upright. With the pure, you will show yourself pure. And with the froward, or the crooked, you will show yourself froward. For you will save the afflicted people, but will bring down the high looks. For you will light my candle. This is the center point of what I want to read here. You will light my candle. Yahweh, my Elohim, will enlighten my darkness. And I believe once he lights this, there's no stopping it. For by thee I have run through a troop, and by my Elohim I have leaped over a wall. I believe this is the moment that his people are glorified, are given that light, given those glorified bodies. And this is where it says, kind of jumping around here, but this is where it says in Zechariah 12, I have never understood this before. It says, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, and when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And I believe that is literally Psalm 2. I believe that this is the moment of Psalm... Oh, here we have it up here. Psalm 2, where the people of the earth gather, right? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder. Like, we don't want their Torah. Cast away their cords from us. He that sits in the heavens shall laugh. Yahweh shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. Yahweh said unto me, you are my son. This day have I begotten you. And I believe that's this moment right here, when their candle is lit. And it actually goes back to Zechariah 12. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces. There will all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. This is literally, everyone on the earth is like, we've got to get these people. We're tired of this. We can't let this go on. In that day, says Yahweh, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and his rider with madness. And I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah, and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength, in Yahweh Sabaoth their Elohim. In that day will I make the governors of Judah like a hearth of fire among the wood. So this is that you have lit my candle, right? This is your light has come moment. And like a torch of fire in a sheaf, and they shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. And several chapters before, he basically says, I'm going to choose Jerusalem yet again. He's not saying I'm going to pick that place in the Mediterranean again. I'm going to relocate Jerusalem one last time. Yahweh also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. In that day Yahweh will defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them will be as David. Now listen up. And the house of David, which I've been sharing with you, is going to be reared back up, shall be as Elohim, as the angel of Yahweh for them. I believe people are going to be glorified instantly and transformed, perhaps, and that's when this happens. And this child that is born, it's the same what we read in Revelation 12. There appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, so walking in the Torah, moon under her feet, operating the priesthood. I'm sorry, I flipped that around. The priesthood and the kingship, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars, the firstborn. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. Anyways, right here. And she brought, so this is the rising of Rome again, so this is happening too. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto Elohim and to his throne. And this promise of the rulership was given by Yahusha to his people, but who? But that which you have, this is Revelation 2:25, already hold fast till I come, and he that overcomes and keeps my works to the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received my Father, and I will give him the morning star. And so, going back here to Psalm 2, so at one moment, this is Yahusha speaking, in my opinion, who's in the heavens, saying to his people, I will set them on my holy hill of Zion, and he's going to beget them in that moment. And they're going to be like him. And then they're going to have the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron. You shall dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. And so that's what's happening here in Psalm 18. You will light my candle. So there's going to be a fire lit. You will light my candle, and my Elohim will light my darkness. And I believe that fire is beginning to be lit because it's the fire of the Torah is burning in the walls of our heart now. For by you have I run through a troop. And by my Elohim have I leaped over a wall. As for Elohim, his way is perfect. The word of Yahweh is tried. He is a buckler to all those that trust in him. For who is Elohim save Yahweh? And who is a rock save our Elohim? This is Yahusha, right? It is our Elohim that girds me with strength and makes my way perfect. We're supposed to be walking in a perfect way. And the only way that's possible is if he girds us with strength and helps us to make our way perfect, giving us the Holy Spirit as that guidance. He makes my feet like hinds' feet and sets me upon my high places, which is promised to those that keep the Torah. He teaches my hands to make war, so the bow of steel is broken by my arms. You have also given me the shield of your salvation, and your right hand has holden me up, and your gentleness has made me great. You have enlarged my steps under me, that my feet did not slip. I have pursued my enemies and overtaken them, neither did I turn again until they were consumed. I have wounded them that they were not able to rise. They are fallen under my feet, for you have girded me with strength unto the battle. You have subdued under me those that rose up against me. You have also given me the necks of my enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. They cried, but there was none to save them, even unto Yahweh, but he answered them not. And this is why these are people that think they're serving Yahweh, even think they're serving Yahusha, but they're not. This is why Psalm 2 makes a distinction. It's not just the people of the world, or I'm sorry, it's not just the nations, but it's also his people. They're supposed to be his people, at least. Right? They're crying out to Yahweh, but they're not. He's not saving them. Then did I beat them small as the dust before the wind. I did cast them out as the dirt in the streets. You have delivered me from the strivings of the people, and you have made me the head of the heathen. A people whom I have not known shall serve me. As soon as they hear of me, they shall obey me. The strangers shall submit themselves unto me. The strangers shall fade away and be afraid out of their close places. Yahweh lives, and blessed be my rock, and let the Elohim of my salvation be exalted. It is Elohim that avenges me and subdues the people under me. He delivers me from mine enemies. Yea, you lift me up above those that rise up against me. You have delivered me from the violent man. Therefore will I give thanks unto you, Yahweh, among the heathen, and sing praises unto your name. Great deliverances gives he to his king, and shows mercy to his anointed, to David and his seed forevermore. And this is why I'm saying, in the last days, Yahusha, who has ascended back into the heavens, who is the one who created us, the one who made man and woman to be rulers of the earth, has taken that back which is lost, set back up his house, and one day is going to set his people as kings and priests to be rulers of the earth once again. All they must do is obey the voice of Yahweh. And that's why the Assyrian is going to be beaten down by the voice of Yahweh and through tabrets and through harps. And so this glorification of the house of David, I believe, is what we read about in Malachi 4. For behold, the day comes that shall burn as an oven. So people are going to get burnt. And all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that shall come shall burn them up, says Yahweh of hosts. That it shall leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name, all right, fear the Torah, and all the things associated thereof, shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. This is when I believe the house of David is made like, shall be as Elohim, as the angel of Yahweh before them. And you guys know the rest. And so some interesting thoughts on this book of Nazarene. Some of you may not know this book. This was preserved by the Celts, who, the Celts, if you didn't know, resisted the papal rule and kept the Sabbath and ate clean. I don't know about every part of it, but they kept quite a bit of the Torah, preserved it, and they preserved this version of the gospel, which there are no contradictions in this. It only reaffirms in these last days that Torah obedience is the way. I want to read you a passage from Book of the Nazarene. Let's go to 85. That is the wrong. Here we go. We're going to go chapter 9. Oh, 89. I put the wrong one in there. Chapter 9, verse 16. This is just like Matthew 5, but with a little more explanation. You whom I accept are the salt of the earth, but if the savor of the salt disappears, it is useless. As salt without any flavor would be good for nothing, so those without goodness in their hearts serve no purpose. As salt adds flavor to food, so do good men make life more acceptable. I am your light, but you are the light of the world. Now listen to this. I feel like this is a direct instruction. Therefore, build a strong city set on a hill, for a light shining from a hilltop cannot be hidden. I have given you the light so it may be put to use, for men do not put a lighted candle under a grain basket, but in a candlestick where it can light up the whole room. Let your light shine before men, that they see the path clearly. So this is the whole point of this city, is to shine this light on the path so people can see it and get back on it, not to mock people, not to destroy people. Right now we're in I don't like the word dispensation. We're in a time of fishing. When Yahusha comes and says there will be time no longer, then that fishing turns into hunting. But we're not there yet. But we are here to declare the truth. Boldly, but also meekly and humbly. You can balance boldness and meekness. They can go together. Join your lights together so they combine to form an unquenchable flame. For while a candle is easily snuffed out, it takes many men to subdue a forest fire. So I believe this fire has been lit. I believe that. Not maybe to its fullness, because obviously some of the things that have to take place, but something is starting. And some of us are having that fire of the Torah lit in our hearts. And now the challenge is to actually come together. Yes, not just online and Zoom chats and stuff. And no. We need to actually come together. He literally says, build a strong city on a hill. For a light shining from a hilltop cannot be hidden. Let your lights shine before men. Join your lights together so they combine to form an unquenchable flame. For while a candle is easily snuffed out, it takes many men to subdue a forest fire. Be stout-hearted and resolute, for the struggle will be grim. The foe is wily and well entrenched behind thick walls. Those who have lived with poverty and misery, maintaining a cheerful heart in tribulation, will arise to glory. Those who are broken, serving the cause of Yahweh, will receive a mantle of splendor. Those whose proper desire remains unfulfilled on earth will find fulfillment in heaven. Those who have cheerfully borne affliction or deformity will radiate strength, and those who die for the cause of justice and peace will inherit life and glory. We'll stop there. We'll stop there. And then one more passage from Nazarene, actually 856. It says, "It is written in the holy books of the Yahudim, in the days of unrighteousness, I will send forth a firebrand to consume the world with fire." So that's kind of what we're talking about here. That reminds me of that fire. Wow. That reminds me of Zechariah 3? Yeah. He showed me Joshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of Yahweh, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him. And Yahweh said to Satan, "Yahweh rebuke you, O Satan, even Yahweh that has chosen Jerusalem, rebuke you. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire?" Interesting. Okay. Sorry. Let's go to one more Nazarene passage, and we're going to look at Nazarene 20:57 through 58. This is the crucifixion scene. Pilate said, "If the light is put out," because Messiah said that he was a light, and Pilate's like, "Well, if you die and the light's put out, does that help any people? Is it not better for the light to shine? Even a faint glow is better than none." Yahushua said, "Do with me as you will. I will light a flame which will consume the world, and darkness will be no more." So, praise Yah. Heshbon, the name of Heshbon is stronghold, and I believe it's time for a stronghold to be built, a little city on a hill, if you will, to radiate the Torah, to obey the voice of Yahweh, and to be a light to the nations. And I believe when enough of these little matchsticks come together, the flame will be great enough. I believe Yahweh will send it forth. And, you know the rest. So let's pray, and I got a couple quick announcements. And then, again, I actually have a song called "Fire from Heshbon," perfect timing, praise be to Yahweh, that really ties into ties a lot of these themes together. Now, obviously, you can't tie everything. You can't tie 30, 40 minutes of study into a 3-minute song, but some of the elements of it. And desiring that fire of the Torah in our heart. And when that flame is lit, there's no stopping it. There's no stopping it. So let's pray. Father Yahweh, we just bless you. Thank you for the fire you've lit in us. We pray that you'd help us to join our lights together and to form a strong city on a hill. Father, help us to that the fire would go forth from Heshbon. And Father, we just pray that you'd help us to make converts, to bring people to your truth, your way, truth, and life. And we just thank you so much for the Sabbath, the rest. We pray that you continue to mark and bless your people. Please unite us and gather us, Abba. Your body is in distress. We need you. Amen. All right. Passover is still a little ways away. We'll have registration up soon, so take a look at the website, parableofthevineyard.com. Also, just really quick, show you around. I'm really bad at promoting my own stuff. Some people don't know that we have other things that exist. We have other channels, Ancient Path Revivals. This is where I'm on a rotation staff of different brothers who do teachings there, but this is our Sabbath gathering. So you'll either catch me or one of the other brothers doing a teaching on Saturdays here at 12:15 Central Standard Time. We also do other stuff here. This is where we put Hebrew Fest stuff and other outreach stuff. Left and Right Ministries. There are our other pillar and partner for Ancient Path Revivals, which is kind of the parent ministry for the fellowship and the outreach. And anyways, and then Fishers of Men is the new family band. Myself, my wife, and my children. We're gonna just continue to sing the truth, and we're just not gonna stop. And so, Fire from Heshbon was kind of just fully released today. So check it out. It's may not be your style. It is more like a dance song. It's like a dance worship song. And so, if it's not your style, I apologize. This is just what's coming from my heart and my offering to Yahweh. So, I pray it's a blessing to you. I'll play it, and if you want to listen to more of it, it's on Fishers of Men, and a bunch more songs that are coming out. I feel like Abba's opened my mouth. Thank you, whoever prayed. I feel like my mouth is open, and I'm ready to sing about all these things. So that's what's in my heart right now. You might not see a whole lot of extra videos other than the Torah portions for the either the short term or long term. I'm not sure, but right now my mind is focused on being obedient to my father, being a husband, being a father to my children, being a leader of this community and fellowship, and a musician. Right now I feel like I need to be a musician. I feel like I need to take all these things we're learning and put it in a song. And so yeah, and I hate this part, but man, I really could use help. This place that we're being called to build here in the Ozarks, we're growing, and just more and more are being added to our staff, and I need help. I need help paying brothers and sisters, and yeah, I could just use your help. So if you believe in what Yah's doing through this ministry and the community here, I could really use your help. It takes a lot for me to ask that. I don't like asking, but I'm also maybe learning that this is maybe what Yahweh was asking me to do, is to help refine me in this area. So could use your help financially to keep things going here. So without further ado, fire from Heshbon. I pray that it's a blessing for you. Sorry.
Wherefore they that speak in proverbs say, come into Heshbon. Let the city be prepared and built unto our none. There's a fire gone from Heshbon, once it starts, no stopping till it fills the earth. There's a star that's come from Jacob and a light for Israel. There's a fire gone from Heshbon, once it starts, no stopping till it fills the earth. There's a star that's come from Jacob and a light for Israel. There's a fire gone from Heshbon, once it starts, no stopping till it fills the earth. There's a star that's come from Jacob and a light for Israel. Why do they that preach from pulpits say don't keep the law? Messiah and the Spirit prophesy, I want Torah. There's a fire gone from Heshbon. There's a fire gone from Heshbon, once it starts, no stopping. There's a fire gone from Heshbon, once it starts, no stopping. It fills the earth. There's a star that's come from Jacob and a light for Israel. There's a fire gone from Heshbon, once it starts, no stopping till it fills the earth. There's a star that's come from Jacob and a light for Israel. There's a fire gone from Heshbon, once it starts, no stopping till it fills the earth. There's a star that's come from Jacob and a light for Israel. Yahweh will light my candle, Torah burning in the walls of my heart. It's the only way, the truth and life. It starts at the cross, but we follow it, walking holy in the ancient path, eternal Torah. Don't be fooled again. We're the generation handpicked for His glory. Let's begin. There's a fire gone from Heshbon, once it starts, no stopping till it fills the earth. There's a star that's come from Jacob and a light for Israel. Yahweh will light my candle, it starts at the cross, but we follow it, walking holy in the ancient path, eternal Torah. Don't be